Hey Siri, open VTube Studio. Good morning, chat. I totally did not forget to open VTube Studio again. I totally didn't sit here staring at the screen being like, I need to do something. What is it that I need to do? Oh, right. VTube Studio. It's always when the timer starts going down that I realize, oh no, there's supposed to be something I'm supposed to be doing right now. Okay. Here we go. Good morning. Oh. Good morning, Keeper. Thank you for getting first. Good morning, Echo. Thank you for getting second. Good morning, Vanya. Thank you for getting third. How's everybody doing today? Morning, Lily. Good morning. Let's fix that real quick. Thank you for the follow. Good morning, Moreau. Thank you for the resub. Thank you. I forgot we've been back for a month, so we're gonna need to start getting resubs, aren't we? Good morning, Austin. Good morning, Cookie. Morning, Casey, Moreau, Mitchie. Good morning, Lily and Echo and good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing okay today. I am just so tired, chat. I am so tired. But the voice acting demo reel has been doing very, very well. I should have put a time limit on how long y'all have to get it to 100 likes. Because we're currently at 64 likes and 30 retweets. That is crazy. There's a good chance that you've stretched. And there's a good chance. This will probably hit 100 today. Because some of the bigger followers that I have, I don't think I've seen the post yet. So, we'll see what happens then. Kiss for that. How's everyone doing today? Did you all sleep okay? Or are you all waking up okay? How's everyone feeling? Me personally, I'm very tired. I kept waking up and falling asleep over and over and over again. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Moreau. Thank you, Vanya. Well, Moreau, I hope you feel better soon. That it goes by pretty easily. And if I could help you out, I would. Okay, let's do this. Oh, the water looks so blue over there. play hardcore. I don't. Oh, Fuji loading screen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, chum. I feel like that's how it usually is. Moreau. Where the first few days are the worst. But I know for some people, every day's the worst. I do not envy those people. How are you doing, the mighty chub? You having a good morning so far? I think the worst part, Chad, is that I agreed that if y'all get that post up to however many likes, that the same day I would do drunk karaoke. That means that tonight I'll probably have to cut and buy drinks in preparation. Hey, chat, we found Vanya. Hi, Vanya. Oh, that would be fun. Let's go look for shipwrecks. Good idea, good idea. No, I'm calling Vanya a turtle. Not slow. Vanya's a fast turtle. Chad, I don't know how many times I have to tell you, but I don't hate anybody. Oh, you're gonna work on your CV? Murrow, do you need any help? I know you probably don't want to show some random person on the internet your CV, but we found a town chat. We found a town chat. Punk. If you need any advice with your CV, let me know. I'll be very happy to help. Yeah, Vanya. Good morning, chat. We're gonna do a job ASMR roleplay. I'm gonna be your HR manager. So, I'll be your hiring manager. What brings you in today, chat? Good morning, Sayori. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. That depends on how well you do your interview. That's what I want. I want this wheel. This wheel's mine. Give. Lose your job, motherfucker. Good morning, Max Magic. Thank you so much for the follow. How are you doing this morning? I'm doing good. Very tired right now. I just woke up not too long ago. You know, I just woke up not too long ago. And so now, well, as you can imagine, I'm very out of it. What about you, Max? Are you getting up? I'm going to sleep. Good morning, Pawns. How you doing, Pawn? you so much for the follow. It's greatly appreciated. Get yourself a nice warm coffee. Get yourself something to warm you up. I'm a human. I get paid in money. I can buy my own dog treats. Thank you. Oh, you're making chili. That sounds so good. Oh, I would love some chili today. Even though I think today is going to be a very, no treat Vanya. Even though I think today is going to be a very, very warm day, chili is still delicious. Chat, for those of you who have AC, air conditioning, have you ever just turned on the air conditioning so that it gets cold, so that you can eat warm foods and be comfortable? Because I know I have. Echo. Please do some sketches. I'd love to see your art. Good night, Cookie. I hope you sleep well. Do your sketches, then come back here and be comfy. Me got boots, chat. Yeah, it's been way too hot lately. It's so hot that everywhere I go, I walk in, all people are doing is complaining about the heat. Rain would be so nice. But today will be a good day for me. And the reason is a lot of people, one person in particular, bought me Uber Eats gift cards and they finally are usable today. Meaning I'm gonna get myself some really tasty food today. Make sure you spend some time today taking care of yourself. Alright, Austin, you too. You do well. Morning, Evil Diva, how are you doing? Okay, chat, here is the goal. Here's the goal. First off, we're gonna try to find somewhere nice to live. And then, we're gonna catch a zombie and name it Chat. And then we're gonna get zombie Chat and make it an indoor house again. I don't know why I've been asked this question so often lately. I think I've been asked this question more often than any other question. I know it's a classic question to ask. I just think it's funny because asked so often. I personally believe that pineapple can go on pizza, but very specifically on a barbecue chicken pizza where a citric acid, or any sort of acid, is very, very welcome. But hi, Keeper, thank you so much for the raid. I got a shout out for the lovely, lovely Keeper, who somehow was streaming but also was first in my redeems. It is delicious. Petal Raid. Oh, what a cutie, what a cutie. Good morning, Keeper. How are you doing? Yeah, no, that's the kind of greed you hear about in the Bible. Keeper coming in taking first place. At least Keeper didn't take multiple places again. Hello, Raiders. My name is LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, a writer, a voice actor, and a flirt. And oh no, I'm sorry you started choking on water. But I hope you're doing okay today. What were you doing? Good morning, Raven. Good morning, Foyden. Always lovely to see you. You'll only be forgiven this once. Next time you'll be executed. Watch out, I've seen Keeper do it before. Ask what happened to the cat girl. Just kidding. ASMR Minecraft. I see you're stealing my ideas now, are you, Keeper? You thief in the night. I know, I'm kidding. You know I appreciate you, Keeps. Little Blossom. With all your pretty little petals. And the lore that you made so well. What a pretty little spirit. Will-o'-the-wisp. Mm. You should. I'm amazing. Don't eat me. Don't eat me, Vanya. I'm not eatable. I must live, chat. If stream ends suddenly, it's because I've been devoured by a moderator. Seems illegal. Seems like a crime. Should not be allowed. How do they keep getting away with this? Child, if you're bored, you can always go do something on your own. But chat is a bunch of good little puppies. It's true. Hmm. Keeper, don't you play on peaceful? How did you die? You drowned. You drowned. You died in peaceful by drowning. What is Keeper a dwarf? Dove too deep and discovered something they shouldn't. Unlocked a great evil. I knew it. Like the greed you read about in the Bible. Even immortality could not protect this one. Lovely, lovely chat. other games is in the cave that we were living in. That cave was so pretty and nice. I miss living in a cave, chat. A water cave. There must be more water caves somewhere. I want to live in a water cave. That cave's too small. Thank you for the alert, jump. Still no water cave, chat. One day we'll find something pretty. Let's check my DMs real quick, though. I do want to know what Keeper sent me. Oh, that's very cool. Proud of you, Keeper. You're gonna send Jean something. What are you sending me? Should I be afraid? I feel like I should be afraid. Always be afraid. Good morning, Shizzle. Cheese. How are you doing today, Cheese? I'm always terrified, chat. Oh. Yes, I'll get you fixed this morning. By the way, for those of you who haven't heard my voice acting demo yet, it is up on Twitter. If it gets 100 likes, we are doing drunken karaoke. Yes, what about it, Voiden? Benchies, I hope you slept well. This today on this stream 0. On the other stream, probably like 12 times. I played it 3 times at the beginning. Oh, maybe only 10. But 10 times in 2 hours is quite a lot. I feel like I just woke up in another dimension. And this is the, Ape dimension. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What do you mean yet still not enough? Well, I can't play it today. This stream is too chill for my voice acting skills. Though I know this is going to lead to me having people being like, hey, oh, thank you for the kiss redeem, Maka. How you doing today? I already get asked enough to do accents, and I'm like, I don't do accents. I just do made-up characters. Good morning, Demoness Chimp. How you doing? Cheesy, what dimension do you feel like you woke up in? Since you say you woke up in a dimension. This is almost good. This is not what I want, but this is almost good. This might work, actually. I wish there was more water, but this cave might be a nice place to build. And it should be easy enough to catch a zombie in here. Welcome back, welcome back. Your muscles are saying no. Did you work out? Oh, well, that came out of nowhere. Vanya, what's that cute emote for? Why are you being cute? Alright. Chat, cancel Vanya for being cute. Too cute. Feels like crime. Something's not right. Do not trust. Oh, make me a grilled cheese. I want a grilled cheese. Alright. Yep, chat, we're gonna live here. In this cave. I like this cave. Goal number 1 is trap a chat. So how are we gonna trap a chat? Stinky chat. I know one of you hasn't showered yet. Which one of you is it? Is it Cheese? I think it's Vanya. Smelly. Oh no, Chad, this cave's being overwhelmed. Chad, we must escape. I did no such thing. Don't lie to chat. That's a vibe. That's a vibe, Demoness. That's a vibe. Absolute vibe, chimp. Alright, chat, we are kicking Vanya back out of the walls. Vanya's gonna have to live exclusively under my sink now. Good morning, Mochio. How you doing? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you doing this morning, lovely, lovely new follower. Very sleepy. Well, I'm happy to hear that you're in the right place. We're being very chill today. Mm-hmm. I hope you enjoy your time here. Alright, chat. Time for us to go defend our home. Take it back. No, Vanya only watches me because I have red hair. It's true facts, chat. If I did not have red hair, they would leave. Watch. See, immediately. That quickly. Mm. Chan, did I ever tell you that Vanya only watches me at all? Because I have red hair, they actually hate me, but they really like the color of my hair. They said they would have committed crimes against me if they could, but the red hair keeps them abated. That'll never happen, Vanya. I'm too lazy for that. Vanya, how even would that work? I would have to change the palette on the fly. Do you know how long it takes me to change the color of the hair? It's not one piece, it is so many individual pieces. Every strand that moves has to be moved on its own. Has to be recolored on its own. Skill-ish. Crazy. Chan, if those don't grow, then it's God that hates me. Yay. Yay. Chat, we're never leaving here. I will never go outside again. That works, Dad. I'll just put color filter over the entire thing. That was a witchy noise. Why am I hearing a witchy noise? Welcome to Red Stream. We are red. I am red and you are red, and we are red together. Sitting on a cornflake. Mm-mm-mm. Well, that could have been very awful, chat. I'm glad we're still alive. We did a great job together, you and I. Mm. What happened, Keeper? What happened, Keeper? What didn't break? Wait, do we have a mine? Hey, we have deeper caves, chat. I'm excited because that means I don't have to dig new caves. Nice. Oh. Yeah, Tits just breaks all the time. That's why I don't use it. I got it working for a while, and that doesn't work, and I'm just... It's not worth the pain and frustration to get it to work, to be honest. Alright, let's make an actual little house. Here. Start nice and simple. Yeah, I got it working my first stream, and that was it with it. Mm-hmm. No point in trying to make it work longer than that, unfortunately. Also, Keeper, are you telling me you're doing an ASMR stream while getting bonked? Really? I think Keeper's already using Sprout. That's smart. There you go. Enjoy your work day. I hope everything goes well for you, Lily. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you later. Mwah. They gotta go make the cash monies. That's actually right. Lily, quit your job, stay here and stand me company. absolute cutie you are. Do stay safe. Make sure you stay as safe as you can. Come back soon. Gene, don't use a pickaxe on gravel. Use a shovel. No. Make me. Tell your aunt I say hi. Specifically me, make sure she knows it's from a random internet person. It's very important to me that she knows who I am. Mm-hmm. Don't even tell her what I am. Just tell her this guy on the internet. I'm gonna save my watermelon. I can make a little farm. Watermelon. Mm-hmm. Repair. Except it doesn't actually repair anything, chat. How dare it? So rude. Good morning, baby bunny Lola. How are you doing this morning? Hope you're doing well. Hello. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing? Just making a little starting area, a little starter home. Mm. Na 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 na. Recovering from what? You don't mind me asking. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, I hope I'm able to provide a more comforting atmosphere for you. Relax here. There's a safe space for you. Mm-hmm. a break. Oh no. Do you have any plans for today, Lola? Baby bunny. I'm doing well. Dropped my voice acting demo yesterday on Twitter, and it got some good feedback. A lot of positive reactions, so excited. And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, that's real LuckyJene on Twitter. Or X if you want to be wrong. Glad to hear that. That is my goal. Mm. Having just a nice, slow morning today. The way I prefer things to be. What about you, Lola? Do you like a slow morning? Or evening, depending on what time it is for you? Good. I'm glad. Too easy to get too hyped up. Oh, it sounds like you need to get some sleep. Shouldn't you be in bed? Or are you just waking up? Mm. Good morning, Axe. How you doing today? Lola, you should get yourself some sleep. Don't pull all-nighters, they're not good for your health. You need to make sure to be taking care of yourself. Your health is important. Mm-hmm. But I trust you will take care of yourself, won't you? That's fair. As long as you're getting some sleep. Mm-hmm. And at least 6 hours of sleep a day. Thank you for the hydrate, by the way. Cheers. Alright, I need to actually do this, don't I? Mm. Oh, that's no good. Brand. Mm-hmm. I feel you. I need to learn how to grow cocoa seeds. Cocoa beans. It's time to explore a little chat. Hopefully find some iron. And that way we can finally trap a chat. No, I hear him. The damn Enderman. Hi. Good morning, good morning, good morning. That's a name I recognize. I think Vanya might have fallen asleep on us, but... One second while I give you a little shout out. How are you doing? How are you doing? How was your stream? Hi, Raiders. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is LuckyJene, and we just found a little dungeon chat. We found a monster spawner, and it's the kind of monster spawner I wanted. Oh, I'm so excited. Good morning, though. What were you streaming? Let's take a look real quick. Boop-a-da-boop. Also doing ASMR. I need to come by to one of your ASMR streams. That'd be very, very nice. Vanya, that was me saying your name. We just got a raid. But hello, raiders. I'm LuckyJene, gambler, a writer, a flirt, and a voice actor now that I have my official demo released. There we go. Look at all this loot. But if you need a raid and run, please feel free to do so. Or if you'd like to stay around longer, please feel free to do so as well. I hope your stream was fantastic. Oh no. Oh no. That they're fighting each other. We're just gonna, seal this off a little bit. I don't need to deal with any other monsters. I have my monster spawner. Which that means we're gonna try to make an EXP farm. Do I know how to make an EXP farm, chat? The answer might surprise you. The answer is no. Only in theory. Enjoy your shower, evil diva. He gone. He gone. He gets so angry. He's my least favorite. Oh no, an ad break. this for the ad break, chat. If it's a good ad, let me know, okay? Thank you for the follow, baby Jordan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And good morning or good evening, depending on what time it is for you. I hope your day is going lovely. How you doing today? There we go. Glad to hear. Do you two know each other? Always fun when people get to see people they know. Oh, very fun. Very fun. Indeed. Oh, very fun. Thank you for the hydrate, Dar. Cheers. How are you doing today, Dar? Are you excited for the lovely, lovely 7 Days to Die this weekend? I know I am. Mm-hmm. 7 Days to Die, not 7 Ways to Die. I love that game. One of my favorites. Especially playing with the lovely Dar here. Put away the knife, Dar. You're not dumb. I'm just speaking very quietly and softly. So it's okay if you mishear me. I'd never judge you for that. Now would I? Such a violent little Sharky. You're lucky you're so cute. Cute little Sharky. So Dar, when's your first ASMR stream? Adorable, adorable, adorable is what I'm hearing. I think you should do it. I think it'd be great. I'll talk to Vonnie about convincing you. Very fair. I mean, I also don't like watching live streamers personally. I'm not a fan of live content, but I make it because I enjoy doing it. Thank you for the follow, Don Hawkins. I don't think there's a winner this time. No winner this time. But nice try. How you doing today? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're either sleeping well or waking up easily or enjoying your midday. ice cream. Bring me back a little bit. Thank you. It's 4 in the morning. Ice cream is good for any time. It doesn't matter what time it is. Am I loud enough, by the way, or should I be a little bit louder? I don't want to be too soft, but I think proportionally, I think we're good. Good morning, Palmo. One of my favorite ASMR streamers. How are you doing? Mm-hmm. Are you as tired as I am? Pum, 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 pum. Getting too hot. Oh, I know that feeling. I'm so sorry it's getting hot for you. It's been getting hot here too. And even with having AC, I don't like running it. I feel like AC just makes me sick. But that could also mean that it's just the cleanliness of the vents. It's just hot everywhere. Well, I suppose the southern hemisphere is probably a little bit better. Thank you for the stretch, real Slim Shady. Good morning. And hydrate. I heard my entire back crack with that one. I was shrimping way too much. You thrive in the heat. You see, I don't mind the heat that much. But the problem is my massive computer here and my walls with horrible insulation just make this space heat up non-stop. I'm good with like good 25°C I'd be alright with. Once you start getting the 30s and higher, that's when I start regretting my choices. What about my voice? Good morning, Bud, Goose. Please do fall asleep. And that way you won't notice when I put you in my basement. I mean, what? Oh, that sounds lovely. I like a room with a good base temperature. What kind of coffee did you get? What? Not scaring people. My basement is comfy, full of beds and padded walls. And even the handcuffs have padding around them. How do you think I keep having viewers, chat? It is cozy. See, we want to hit partner in 6 months. And the only way to do that is by making sure people can't leave. I'm just kidding. You're free to leave whenever you want to go, chat. I would never, never keep you here longer than you want to stay. Mm-hmm. My basement will be at a nice, nice, cozy temperature. See, that's what all the kidnappers got wrong. You just gotta make sure that your kidnappies are comfy. Alright, I'm gonna stop. Does anybody know how to tame a horse, chat? I want a horse, but I don't know how to tame it. Is it just grain? Or do I need carrots for it? Oh, kitten girls, hopefully they're nice. I need apples. Oh, well, I guess we're collecting apples, chat. Who do I sound like? Kitten. Wait, so all I need to do is sit on it? Do I need anything besides sitting on it? I'm so confused now, chat. I'm sure I'll be fine. Only hardcore mode will survive. That's how I usually treat most people, is just sit on them until they love me. We'll see how well it works. Well, I'll have to check them out sometime. Yes, Casey. I met a Minecraft horse. Oh, that's funny. Thank you so much for the follow. I do greatly appreciate it. Now, we haven't done anything for 1,000 followers, and we're already at 1,100. Of course. And I've done some very, really yandere streams, more roleplay styles. So I always want to have somebody feel comfortable here. Welcome back, Lola. Oh, is this another cave? Oh, it's not as pretty as the one we live in. The undead is so much fun. Casey, I'm sorry if my chuckle is too much. Unfortunately, I only have the one. Oh, that's what we need. Look at them berries. We're going berry picking. Oh, you haven't heard my true yandere. Alright, Bunny. I'll call you Bunny then. there's anything you'd rather I call you, please let me know. I will try my best to remember. Ishmael. Hello, Ishmael. Ishmael. No, 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 no. I'm doing good. How are you doing? Oh. Well, I hope you have a fun time while you're here. Relax. Take a load off. Come hang out. Oh, I feel you. Yes, Blossom, of course I know what you are. Thank you for the follow, Shmel. Oh, of course. You can definitely talk about my demo on Twitch. You can tell anybody about my voice acting demo. I'm very, very excited to see where that goes. And hopefully, I'll soon get some gigs. I appreciate you so very, very much. No, Chad, I can't find home. Did we pass it? Home was here somewhere. There it is. I was awakened. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. You lost your map. How dare you? Don't lose your map, keeper. You need that. Come vai, uomo. Io sono stanco. No, I still can't believe you died peaceful. That's crazy, Keeps. I think I want to move this wall out a tiny bit. I think it'd look just a little nicer. What's up, Sayori? I speak very, very little Italian. I lived there for about a year. Way back when, with my mother. Ich kann besser Deutsch sprechen. Es funktioniert viel besser. Meine Mutti ist Deutsch und mein Vater ist amerikanischer. So ich kann beide Sprachen ein bisschen machen. Aber ich habe viel mein Deutsch vergessen. And really the Italian I do know is mostly there to survive on the streets in Firenze. I can order food and maybe barter a little bit, but not much more than that. Yeah. Ah, sprichst du Deutsch? Bist du Deutsch? Kommt du aus Deutschland? Hm. Ah, wie geht's, Liebe? Geht alles gut? Oh, really? That sounds incredible. I'd love to hear you sing. The only German singing I can do is Rammstein, and we all know how much of a German that is. Warum willst du, dass ich Deutsch sprechen? Mein Deutsch ist nicht so gut. Ich habe so viel vergessen. Mm. Danke. Do you know the popular washing machine song? I do not know a popular washing machine song. What kind of song is a popular washing machine song? It sounds funny. Da 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 da. Hi Lilith, how you doing? Always good to see you. No, I don't like that. We do a little bit of a covering up top. That might feel nicer. No, that looks so dumb. We'll leave it for now. Figure it out later. Oh. Really? Well, if you have any recordings of your singing, I'd love to hear it. I don't think I like making this house out of stone, but I guess it will work until we get more materials and such. Mm-hmm. Do you have it on YouTube anywhere? Have you uploaded the songs anywhere? If so, I can always go check out a link. Oh, well then I'll come follow you. I don't really use TikTok much myself except to watch other people's things. Unless you'd rather I not, I do understand. Good night, Lilith. Sleep well. You need to be getting more sleep than that. Do I need to start checking in on you to make sure you're sleeping okay? Going to worry me. Good morning, good morning, good morning, lovely crow. How are you doing today? good song to choose for that. What a good song to choose for a washing machine. Song about a trout. I like that. Mm. Too low. Go back to bed then, Crow. You don't need to be awake. Why would you need to be awake? Sleep. Sleep, my lovely little crow. Oh, that is not fair. How could work do this to you? Tell work they need to stop being so mean to you. This should do. Let's see what we got here. Mm-hmm. I agree, I agree. I hope I am able to help all of you relax, have a good time, and just enjoy your time here. You might have a mental breakdown. I'm sorry to hear that. Anything I can do to help you? Got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Where's it? Oh. I think that looks okay. I think I'd like a different wall behind it, but that'll work for now. Cute little fireplace. Oh, I totally understand that. Take the time that you need. And don't overwork yourself. But do take hours that you do need. I obliterate stress directly. Oh, you're right, you wanted me to read Winnie the Pooh, didn't you? I forgot about that. I can do that for you. It'd be fun to read Winnie the Pooh, I think. Hungry. You can't eat me, Vonnie. I'm sorry. No, don't you eat me. Hello, Hugh. How you doing, Hugh? Everything going well with you this morning? Going to bed. I hope you sleep well. Get some sleep. Relax. Have a good one. Oh, Chad, I'm out of iron. One day we're gonna have to go find some new iron. Stop trying to eat me, Vanya. Not allowed. Squee, squee. What you squeeing about? Nom, nom, nom. Stop trying to eat me. I also need to find a bucket of water, Chad. Or just a bucket. So I can make my little monster farm here. And she will get there. Cute. What made you fall off the bed? The thunder? Oh. I'm sorry to hear that. I think I should be able to sleep through this thunderstorm and bypass it. But I will be making an audio very soon, comforting through a thunderstorm. So once that is written and done, I'll send it your way, okay? There we go. Sunflower seeds are dangerous. Did you choke on a sunflower seed? You gotta be careful. No, no. Be careful. So many creepers. sunflower seeds too much. Too easy to get stuck between your teeth. Oh man. Back in the mine, chat. Swinging our pigs side to side. See, I really like deep water. But we won't talk about that right now. Is it weird that my two favorite kind of streams, chat, are either really, really relaxing streams or hardcore horror streams? I like my blood pumping, my blood stopped. Vanya, I don't own a Switch. I couldn't play Breath of the Wild even if I wanted to. We found iron. To play Breath of the Wild without a Switch? Oh. Though I had an idea just now. I could play some retro games I've been wanting to play for a while. Just turn it down and make it kind of a, listening to the background TV. Make it a whole roleplay scenario. 'Cause I'm gonna be honest, I think some of the best sleeps I've ever had when somebody else was doing something behind me that semi-interested me. Like somebody playing some of the old Final Fantasy games. Maybe it's just nostalgia. Good morning, Aeronaut. Breath of the Wild. I'd consider it. Oh, creepers again. Was there any skeletons or are we good? Alright, chat, let's do this. Oh. No, this is too big. Too open, we're not risking it. Really? Setting up their phones. I'm gonna do a horror ASMR stream, chat. imagining trying to do a horror ASMR stream. Because y'all have heard me panic before. Oh, just imagine me panicking. And I'll try to stay calm and quiet. Going like, it's so scary. Oh no. Big spooks. Mm-hmm. Mm. Ouchie. Hi, Aika. How you doing today? Have you been doing good? No, you're not an old woman. You're cute is what you are. How did we get down here, chat? I think I found the way. Band. We can do that as a Halloween collab. Would you like to do that, Pomo? ASMR horror stream collab. Proud of you for fixing your sound alerts. Good job, Keeper. We all root for you. Mm. 3 cheers for Keeper. Hip hip. Oh, I'm sorry you're sad. What's going on, Crow? I would upload. I actually have one ASMR video uploaded to YouTube currently. I believe the YouTube channel is just LuckyJene. And yes, I would upload any ASMR to YouTube. Mm. Yeah. And if there's ever games y'all want me to play, one of these little soft spoken ASMR stream, you let me know, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm always happy to try out new things. That's fine, Crow, I understand. No, I totally get that. Do you have a sports bra that you could wear to help? I know how stressful that can be, especially if it's an outfit that you really, really enjoy. And we do have a script writer currently writing me some scripts for some ASMR. No, I got you. What's happening tonight, Keeper? What's happening tonight, Keeper? Oh, it is Friday, isn't it? True. Alright, lovely, lovely, lovely. Is unfortunately getting late. Shouldn't have late. I'm also unfortunately flat. My titties aren't big enough to satisfy you all. Let's see what we have here. This person's asleep. What's this? What are they doing? Okay, nothing there. Trying to find somebody to raid into, chat. But I'm not finding anybody. Who do you have? Are they a chill vibe? Yes, I stream every day at 3:30 AS. So wow, I stream every day, 3:30 a.m. MST, and 4 p.m. MST as well. But who do you have, Hawkins? Who do you suggest to raid? I'm sorry, I'm so tired. Oh, Yuki. Okay. Sure, Chow, we can raid into them. Thank you all for being here. It was a lot of fun. You all say hi for me, okay? And there's a little raid message for all of you. And I hope you all have a lovely, lovely morning. If you need to see my schedule, don't forget it's on Twitter. !Discord to take a look there. We're going to do some poetry reading very soon. I think one of our next streams will be poetry reading. Alright. Goodbye, everyone. Have a lovely, lovely time. Good morning, good evening,